Smoke, thunder, and revolution. The Battle of Valmy wasn't supposed to be a victory, yet it became the moment the French Revolution proved it could survive the world's wrath. On September 20th, 1792, as cannons roared through the damp hills of northeastern France, the fate of an entire nation hung in the balance. The newly formed French Republic was barely a day old, and already, it faced annihilation from the combined forces of Prussia and Austria, monarchies determined to crush the revolutionary fire before it spread across Europe. At dawn, under grey skies and relentless rain, two armies faced each other across the fields near the village of Valmy. On one side stood the professional soldiers of the Prussian army, veterans of countless wars, their lines precise and disciplined, their confidence unshaken. On the other stood a chaotic mix of raw French volunteers and remnants of the old Royal Army, led by Generals Charles Dumouriez and François Kellerman. Many of these French troops were barely trained, armed with mismatched weapons and fired by little more than the wild hope of defending their revolution. Yet that hope was enough to transform them. As the Prussian cannon barrage began, Kellerman's troops stood their ground through mud, smoke, and fear. When he raised his sword and shouted, "Vive la nation!" thousands of voices echoed back, a cry not of soldiers, but of citizens defending a dream. The Prussians advanced, expecting the French to break. They didn't. Despite heavy shelling, the French lines held firm. For hours, cannon fire thundered back and forth, with little movement on either side. But the psychological tide had shifted. The Prussian commander, the Duke of Brunswick, stunned by the French determination and hampered by illness, rain, and dwindling morale, ordered a retreat. In military terms, Valmy was a small skirmish with minimal casualties, yet its symbolic power was enormous. It was the first major victory of the French revolutionary armies and the moment the old world began to crack. Goethe, who witnessed the battle from the Prussian side, famously said, "From this place and from this day forth begins a new era in the history of the world." He was right. The victory at Valmy gave the revolution legitimacy, proving that an army of citizens, inspired by ideals rather than obedience, could defeat Europe's greatest powers. It ignited confidence within France, leading the National Convention to declare the abolition of the monarchy the very next day. Valmy wasn't just a clash of armies. It was a clash of centuries. The soldiers of the Ancien regime, trained to fight for kings, faced a new breed of warriors who fought for liberty, equality, and fraternity. That spirit couldn't be measured by military precision or rank. It came from belief. Every cannon shot at Valmy echoed like a declaration that France would no longer kneel. The Prussians withdrew, and the revolutionary armies, once doubted, surged forward. France's enemies realized that this was no mere rebellion. It was the birth of a new political force that would reshape Europe. From Valmy came the momentum that fueled the rise of the French Republic, the spread of revolutionary ideals, and eventually, the rise of Napoleon Bonaparte. The muddy fields of Valmy became sacred ground, a place where ordinary men defied empires and the world changed course. Though the battle lasted barely a day, its impact reverberated for generations, a triumph not of weapons, but of will. In the thunder of those guns, France found its voice, and history itself seemed to pause, take note, and turn a new page.